Swisscontact supports economic development and has been doing so for 60 years. The Swiss private sector must contribute to economic development in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. To achieve this, the Swiss Foundation for Technical Development Cooperation was founded in Zurich in 1959. Let's take a closer look at what has occurred since then. While the race to get to space and the Berlin Wall were important issues during the 1960s, society hummed along to the music of the Beatles and sported their haircuts. Back then, Swisscontact was working to implement the Swiss model of vocational education in Africa and Asia, and in so doing, contributed to the industrialization and economic growth of developing countries striving for independence. In 1962, the first precision mechanics school workshop opened in Chandigarh, India. In 1963, an agricultural school opened its doors in Seku, Dahomey, which is today known as Benin. The 70s were marked by more important events. The Vietnam War ended in 1975, and the hippies demanded a new, more open societal model. Vocational education remained the central focus area of Swisscontact. In 1971, the technical school workshop in Chabez was handed over to the Tunisian government. With Swisscontact's support, 16 vocational schools opened soon after in other countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. With the Senior Expert Corps, Swisscontact established an additional opportunity to share know-how in 1979. Year after year, hundreds of retired Swiss technicians shared their expertise and skills in volunteer missions with local companies. The 80s. Mullets, the first computer games, Glasnost, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and CDs. A decade with many changes for Swisscontact too. Vocational education became more flexible, as Swisscontact introduced more short-term courses, with the aim to improve direct job market integration. In 1981, the first industrial promotion project started up in Costa Rica. The promotion of small and medium enterprises later developed into the second primary focus of Swisscontact, from Peru to Indonesia. German reunification and terrible wars in the Western Balkans, Rwanda, and the Gulf defined the political landscape of the 90s. The World Wide Web is born, while platform shoes become a must-have. During that time, Swisscontact expanded its activities towards financial services. The introduction of savings products and the financing of business activities with microcredit became more important. The first pure microfinance project started in Ecuador in 1995. The foundation supported the creation of savings and credit cooperatives and ensured their services will reflect the needs of their rural client base. Finally, as part of its industrial promotion activities, environmental concerns became increasingly important for Swisscontact. Projects were primarily implemented in Latin America. These are based on the introduction of lead-free petrol and emissions standards similar to those known in Switzerland. The terror attacks on New York's Twin Towers, as well as new technologies such as Google, smartphones, and Facebook, shaped the world in the 2000s. Swisscontact developed new methods to include disadvantaged populations into the local markets they serve. The Catalyst project, implemented by Swisscontact in Bangladesh, aimed to develop markets that allowed smallholder farmers to be actively included in mainstream markets. From 2010, the world was fraught with the debt crisis in the Eurozone, the increasing influence of social media, including in politics, and the global refugee crisis. Swisscontact's impact also grew thanks to its global initiatives. Project work on global programs, implemented simultaneously in several countries, became ever more important to Swisscontact. The Foundation acts as facilitator in these efforts. It no longer implements action directly, but brings local market actors together so that they will become active themselves. In doing so, Swisscontact helps to ensure project sustainability. Swisscontact has over 60 years of expertise in implementing projects adapted to the local context of economic development, These efforts have a strong focus on making these projects as effective as possible. As Swisscontact's history shows, development requires change. Since its founding in 1959, Swisscontact's approach has evolved from direct to fully partner-driven interventions. And yet, in terms of objectives, nothing has changed over the last 60 years. Swisscontact still creates opportunities for people to grow economically and lift themselves out of poverty.